Topic for today. This is our lesson number 2, developing the whole person. Now, we are going to talk about the holistic or the historic perspective of um, understanding the self. Okay, understanding holistic perspective, because before there were different theorists, um, philosophers who tried to understand or explain behavior. The first philosophical perspective that we're going to talk about is called dualism, basically by Rene Descartes. Okay, so dualism. What does this mean? What is dualism? So when we say dual, that involves how many? If it's dual, it involves two factors, right? So there are two factors, right? Very good. Yes, Mary, two factors. So what are these factors according to Rene Descartes? Ningon siya nga, we have we have mind and body are two different entities according to Rene Descartes. All right. So in understanding personal development, naana sa Rene Descartes nga, our mind is separate from our body. Why did Rene Descartes said that? Why did he say that? It's because, according to him, our body can function without even thinking. Do you agree with that? Sige daw, type yes in the chat if you agree with Rene Descartes that our body can sometimes function without thinking, without us thinking about that specific functionality. Is that a yes? Okay. Yes, you agree. Example, sige daw. What is your example? Why did you say that it's yes? That sometimes our body functions without even thinking about that specific functionality. Sige daw, give us an example. We do not need to think to breathe. Exactly, di ba? Because that is automatic according to Rene Descartes. Oh, jerk reflex, yes. Okay, di ba? So there are body functions that we don't need to think for it or for them to function. So that's the reason why, according to Rene Descartes, there are mind and body are two different entities. Okay, mind is the thinking part and the body is the non-thinking part. Okay, so the body is the part in charge of the movement, and mind is in charge of the processing of information. All right. So no, inana ang emphasis sa kang Rene Descartes, the separating two different entities, mind and body. However, ingon ang uban nga psychologist nga actually it will not make sense. Nga naman, because when we try to understand personality, okay, personal development, we are going to consider holistic view. According to Gestalt, okay, Gestalt psychology, proposed by Max Wertheimer, Kurt Kafka, and Wolfgang Kohler, the whole is greater than the sum of its part. Okay? When we say holistic, according to this psychologist, it won't make sense if we are going to consider or talk about or focus our attention on just one area of development. What we need to focus on is understanding the interplay of all areas of development. Okay? All dimensions of development. That's why, according to Gestalt, the whole is greater than the sum of its part. Okay, what does it mean? Unsay buot ipasabot anang the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. Okay, let me give you an example. These are basically car parts. Do you agree? Na tay engine block, na iligid, okay, and other parts of a car. All right? But these are just merely parts of a car. We cannot call these parts as car. That means these areas won't make sense. Do you agree? Okay. You put them, for example, you carry these parts inside a room, and you cannot say that these parts are called a car. Di ba? When can we say that it's a car? It is when you install everything that constitute a car and makes it perfectly functioning car. Di ba? So in the holistic perspective, what makes sense is the holistic view. What makes sense is the whole kanang concept. Di ba? That's the car. So if you relate this to your personality, if you relate this to your development as a person, we are not. According to Gestalt psychology, what's important is when we take a look at the interplay of different dimensions of personality, different dimensions of development of a person, not only one dimension. So according to them, we need. Okay, that's the focus of the Gestalt psychology. All right. Nasabtan ba? Are you getting me? Type yes in the chat if you are able to understand the dualism and the holistic perspective. Type yes. Okay, good. We are going to talk about various types of development. So these are the development that make a person holistic. Okay. Actually, there are a lot of areas, more areas we can talk, but these are the basic various types of holistic development. First thing, we're going to talk about physiological development. Then we're going to discuss about cognitive development. And then it will be followed by emotional development, and then social development and spiritual development. So these are basically various different types of holistic development. Let's talk about physiological. Okay, so what's that physiological aspect of development? The physiological development refers to body changes. So the physical body that includes your growth, improves gross and fine motor skills, and biological maturity. So ano man yung biological maturity? So for adolescents, no, from childhood to adolescence, very obvious we can see the difference. Now for male, we can skin gets oiler, di ba? So di rin na magsugod ng natin mga pimples. Okay, mga bugas-bugas, di ba? And then the shoulder gets wider. Okay, and for men also, you may have facial hair. Okay, so facial hair, growth of facial hair, or the hair underarm. Okay, so if nagsugod ng hair underarm, magsugod na pod siguro nga natin mga body underarm odor. Okay, nga we need to take care of. Okay, and then part of it is also pubic hairs. All right, the secondary characteristics of development, and then the penis get longer and wider, and testes get larger. Okay, di ba? So that's physical attribute of development. Okay, and the neck, chest, and leg muscles get bigger and stronger. All right, so magka stronger na ang inyong muscles. This time, sa una, bata pa ta, we cannot carry a gallon of water. But now that you are already an adolescent, that means that you can carry gallons of water already, di ba? Pasanon. Okay, so because you have stronger body this time. And for female, what are the physiological changes for female? Whole body gets curver. Okay, skin gets oiler as well. So that's why for female now, a lot of females or adolescent females are very conscious when it comes to kanang skincare, di ba? Dapat walay kuan kanang walay pimples. Okay, so inana no. Hair underarms, so good po, same sa male. Breast starts to develop, and then hip bones wider. Pubic hairs also will grow, and then weight gain on hips. Okay, and then leg muscle get bigger and stronger. So same with male. All right, so daghan no mga similar and different characteristics of female. I think you can already identify the similarities and differences between the physiological or the physical development of male and female. All right, so now that's for the physiological development. This is very basic. Everybody can already understand that. Now, what are the implications? If a person has undergone, okay, now that you are adolescent, what has changed? What are the implications of these changes? Number one implication is that it may lead to new response from others. Okay? New response. That means that there is going to be a different response compared when you were still a child and now that you are adolescent. All right? So in terms of, number one, physical appearance, this time, or maybe your friends, no, your social friends, hala ni guwapo lagi ka. Hala ni guwapa lagi ka. Di ba? And then it's because of that, the way others will treat you because your appearance has changed, that will also change. Okay, the people around you, the way they treat you, that will also change because of the physical appearance. All right, diba? Number two, hormonal changes. This time, because of adolescent stage, is a very crucial stage because this is now the growth of the change, sudden change of sexual hormones, diba? The testosterone, the estrogen, okay, and that may lead to mood changes as well. Because of this hormonal changes, it may also lead to mood changes. So maybe matingala ang uban nga ala murag sad lagi na siya karon sa di lang sa dolo na. So naa lagi mga changes the way you are being handled by the people around you. All right? And a lot of adolescents, since this is also something to do with the development of your brain, since this time your brain is not fully developed yet, the amygdala, which is, you can take note of this, amygdala, the part of the brain that regulates emotion, is still not fully developed yet. That's why it's hard for adolescents to control their emotions. Okay? So take note of that. Now, cognitive changes, the way you think. Maybe this time you process information is faster than before. Now, man ang imong mga classmates siguro nga, uy, mauwal mo kumuduolan ni Kuan, ay kipas bright naman kaayo. Yan na bitaw, unlike before nga bata pa, duwa lang, but in adolescent stage, makita na ang imong intellectual ability mas ni bright na ka cognitively, or nausab na gyud the way you think. This time, niana mo ganina, someone said a while ago that your perspective has changed. So maybe you have your own idea, maybe others don't like your idea, or maybe others like your idea. That's the reason why mas siguro mo strengthen in your relationship with other friends or not. Diba? So somehow it's related to that. So that is cognitive change. Ang uban pod, hala, bright man kayo si Kuan. Ako nang amiguhon kay para na imahimo sa akong assignment. Na. Okay, so that can be part of it. So that's part of a new response that comes along with physiological development. Next is social relationship will also change. Okay, so related sa akong gingon ganina, karon siguro your kind of a relationship with other people is actually much more meaningful than others. So that means that your way of communicating with them, of dealing with these people, will also change. In the same way that if this change, their way of communicating and dealing with you may also change, diba? All right. Now another concern is your physical appearance and body, because because of sudden change in your body, this comes with stressors. Okay, according to studies, adolescent stage actually brought so much stress, anxiety to adolescents. It's because of the sudden change of physical appearance, and maybe it comes with a lot of expectations as well. All right, this time you start taking care of your body, which may be stressful for you because you're not used to it. Okay, so yun na, no? Especially if bago pa kanang onset pa gyud sa imo ang puberty. All right, so yun na. So these are the challenges or that you may experience that comes with physiological development. All right, next, cognitive development. What is cognitive? That's correct. When we say cognitive, it may refer to intellect. Information processing. Yeah, Grant said information processing. That is also correct. That's part of cognitive process. Mental process, Francine said. Yes, that is right. So that means that the way we process information, our intellectual ability, your way of processing information is now different from before. Okay? All right, so that is cognitive development. So what are these? What is cognitive development? This refers to the improved ability of people to understand and reason out. Because there is term development, that means na change. Okay? So different ang meaning sa cognitive or cognitive development. When we say cognitive development, because there's a term used, there's a term called development, that means that a change of ability. Okay? And because it's development, that kind of change is positive change. So that's improved ability of people to understand and reason out. Okay, so not only that, what are the areas, what are the things that you are good at now that you are in adolescent stage? Okay, so what are these areas? Number one, high reasoning skills. Naabay ka usaban? The way you process information, the way you analyze things, the way you deal with problems, maybe that's academic problem, that's personal problem, or yeah, basically there's something related to reasoning skills. Naabay changes when you were young and now that you're adolescent. Yes or no? Lisod po dugwa, no? Okay, of course there are changes. Okay, so now that's high reasoning skills this time because basically physiologically our brain is now starting is developing na ni grow na pud siya in some part. Okay, so high reasoning skills this time kabaw na ka mo solve mathematical problems. Okay, ingon ana. And then number two is improved abstract thinking skills. That means na this time you are more creative. Okay, this time you can conceptualize things. Okay, this time you can innovate, you can create. All right, so that's improved ability compared when you were still a child. Okay, also this time heightened level of self-consciousness, of course, because you have the ability not to think of sa may maayo and not for you. So dapat taas na imong level of consciousness, self-consciousness, di ba? And it also goes with the physical body development because you need to be self-conscious for you to be presentable to other people. All right, so heightened level of self-consciousness this time, and also improved information processing speed. Okay, all right, so that's the way you process information this time is actually a lot faster compared when you were younger. Okay, and then perspective taking. This time you already know ideas of others. Okay, you can recognize ideas, information from others, comparing it to your ideas and information. Okay, so yun na no. So these are actually daghang pagit ka mga capability siguro related to cognitive development. Okay, all right. Then let's talk about emotional development. All right. Mhm. So this time you are more aware of your emotions. So what is emotional development? This actually refers to the growth in terms of your expression, understanding, and regulation of emotion. Okay. Okay. So when we talk about emotional development, we can think of these two murag ma-associate na to siya ang emotional development sa emotion and feelings. Okay? So what's the difference between emotion and feelings? As per definition, emotion is a physiological experience gives you information about the world. And feelings is your conscious awareness of the emotion itself. How do you differentiate that? So what's the difference? What's emotion and feelings? When you say emotion, that's actually the label. When you say you're happy, you're angry, those are emotions. Okay? So those are physiological experience. You experience those depending on the hormones that's being released in your body. That's why it's physiological. Okay? And that is the label. That's why in the definition it says it gives you information about the world. So that means that because that's the label. When we say feelings, that is your conscious awareness of the emotion. Are you getting me? You feel sadness is emotion, right? But you say you feel sad, that is your feeling. That is your conscious awareness of the sadness that you experience. If you are happy, feelings is the feeling happy. Okay? That's the conscious awareness of feeling happy about something. Are you getting me? Okay. I hope this will make you understand more the difference of emotion. So emotion is specific reaction to certain events. Okay. So for example, nilabang ka sa, you cross the street, nakulbaan ka. Okay, so because if you cross the street, naa kay specific reaction. Nakulbaan ka, timahadlo ka. Or emotion help prime our bodies to act in certain way. So it's because of emotion, we act in a certain way. For example, nakita nimo si crush. Unya, because nakita nimo si crush, nakulbaan ka. Okay? Na ay sudden change sa imuang heartbeat. Right? And then, unsa may imuang action? Nitago ka or ning smile ka. Okay? So yun na, ano? So that emotion um, make us do that. And then, includes cognitive and physiological change. Okay, so there are actually theories that says nga, emotion is sometimes cognitive and also physiological. All right, a lot of some theories says or some theories say that sometimes we think of something first before we elicit emotion. Other theories would say nga, we feel emotion before sometimes we think about it. Okay, so yun na, no? So it involves cognitive and physiological change. And when we say emotion, almost automatic and sometimes you are unconscious that it happened. All right, you are not aware that it happens, that you are not aware. Sometimes it cannot be controlled. All right, so that's emotion, that happiness, that anger, that sadness, that enthusiasm. All right, now when we say feelings, this is the perception. So take note of this. This is a perception. So when we say perception, this includes in kanang awareness of the sensation. Okay, awareness of the sensation in the body. So you say, I'm feeling nervous. Okay. Nervousness is the emotion. But if you say, nakulbaan lagi ko, that is your feeling. Okay? Because that is the awareness of that emotion that you feel. All right? And then, emotion, feeling related to emotions actually. Okay? When you say feeling tired, so that's something to do with the condition of your body. Or you feel cold, okay? All right? So that means nga usahay ang feelings or the feelings are not related to emotions. Okay? Feel tired, I feel cold, I feel warm, okay? I feel hot, so yun na. And feelings, continuous readouts of our internal states. Readouts meaning understanding of what's going on inside. Okay? And feelings is only one component of emotion. Okay? Are you getting the nasabtan na ba ang difference between feelings and emotion? So I think this time, your emotion, just like what you shared a while ago, this time you are better at handling your emotion than before. This time you are better in understanding your feelings than before. Okay. So, yun na, ano? So that's emotional development. Another aspect of development is called social development. All right. So what is social development? It refers to the manner by which you interact with other individuals or group of individuals. So maybe this time for adolescents, the relationship, the way you deal with your friends is actually a lot more meaningful than before. Diba? Do you agree with that? So, yun na, no? So the way you interact with the people around you, that's part of social development. Kung sa una, ulawon ka, maybe because of the experiences, this time you have changed. All right? This time you like talking to other people. All right? So, yun na, no? That's social development, the way you handle group of people, group of individual or individuals. All right? And then, um, when we talk about social development, the best, or not really the best, but we can associate this with Erik Erikson's 8 stages of psychosocial development. All right. So, what are the 8 stages of psychosocial development? The infancy, um, the way we handle people during infancy is also different, di ba? And then the way we are influenced by people during early childhood is different, and also in preschool, school age, adolescence, the way we see people during these stages, young adulthood, middle adulthood, and maturity, there are differences. Okay, and this is divided by Eric Erickson into 8 stages. That's from birth to death. All right, from infancy to maturity. All right, so that's social development. We are going to have a separate discussion about social psychosocial development, the 8 stages of Eric Erickson. Okay. Now, in the social development, the 8 stages, in Eric Erickson's theory, Yaangi follow ang epigenic principle. Okay? What does it mean, epigenic principle? That means that you need to have to go through infancy before you have to go through early childhood experiences stage. Yun na, ano? So from one stage to the other, dili pwede magkabali-bali ang stages. Di pwede nga nag-una kag maturity. Just like, what's the movie? Can you remember the movie si Benjamin Button? Okay? 'Di ba? Natiguang siya din nagkabata. So it's reverse. But in Eric Erickson it will not happen. It does not happen. All right? And then um in the 8 psychological or psychosocial development, it follows interaction of opposites. That means that in our development per stages, we experience positive and negative. Eric Erickson called it syntonic and dystonic tendency. And he also called it crisis or conflict in that specific area. So if you're familiar, number one, during infancy, trust versus mistrust. Okay, either you experience trusting behavior or mistrusting behavior. Okay, so yun na, ano? And last thing, spiritual development. All right, so when we say spiritual development, this sometimes, or we can say that it could be this time you are more religious, or maybe you are more spiritual. All right, or we can also, when we talk about spiritual development, we could also refer to the values and virtues that you possess. Okay, not necessarily religiosity or related to spirituality, because or related to religiosity, because sometimes people are spiritual but not religious. Are you getting me? Religiosity and spirituality are two different things. Okay, what we may see that in religiosity, if a person is religious, for example, you belong to a certain religion, your religion will have to ask you to go to church every Sunday. So you are religious. That means that you follow the rules of that specific doctrine or that religion. When we say spirituality, it's actually sometimes it's more of the practice. It's more of the practice of religiosity. For example, you don't go to church most often. You don't go to church every Sunday, but you intently pray. Okay? Or but your practice in terms of your values, you do good to others. So so that's different from religiosity. Okay? Because sometimes others are religious but they're not spiritual. They just go to church, but they don't really practice what they what they what they've learned, okay, in the church. All right, so that's the difference between spirituality and religiosity. So muna siya, no? When we say spiritual development, maybe for discovering oneself beyond the ego, known as the soul, spirit, or inner essence. Okay, so sometimes if we believe in spirit, if we believe in soul, if we believe in higher being, okay, that is religiosity. Okay, or also we can say it's spirituality, spiritual development. And or if not necessarily you believe in higher being, but your inner sense, you are kind of bitong maayon nimo pagkadala imong self. Okay, so so that's still somehow related to spirituality. So when we say higher being, higher power, we can relate this to if you are Catholic or other Christian denominations, we believe God. We believe in God. That's the higher being. For Muslims, they believe in Allah. Okay? So the Allah. And in Buddhism, they believe in Buddha. Okay? So that's their higher being, higher power. Okay? Now, these are the different various types of holistic development